In this video, I'm going to sit down with Mark for part 2 of our interview. We're going to go deeper into his business, how he started a successful state-of-the-art gym. Here it is. Hi, please tell us your name and where are you from?
Mark and I am from Los Angeles, California. So we decided to go ahead and go for it and sold pretty much almost everything, business, house, and pulled the plug on California and came here. Oh, it'll be the best thing ever. We'll go to a nice quiet little island and we'll just live happily ever after. But once you lived in the West pretty much your whole life and you go to try to live that style, it takes a really unique individual to get out of that and be able to just settle for that. And that wasn't for us. We ended up looking for different opportunities, and I kept getting this Gold's Gym franchise popping up on my Facebook page all the time. Franchise Gold's Gym Philippines, franchise. And I'm like, franchise Gold's Gym would not work here in Corona. It's just too small. Population's too small. Demographically, I think the financial status it's not high enough for people to support something like that. So I showed my wife. She liked the idea. I've been in the workout business, not business, but in the workout world since 1981 was my first trip to Gold's Gym Venice when I was 16. It was my birthday gift, and fell in love with the sport of bodybuilding, got into that for a while, but realized genetically I didn't have what it took to be, one of these mass monsters, and thank God for that. And then men's physique came along about 10 plus years ago, and if it came along when I was in my 20s, I would have been a pro. And I actually almost was. I started competing, became a very high level national, pro qualifying competitor. Had done nationals a couple times, had one placement away from getting my pro card.
Wow.
And, after getting that, the whole pandemic hit and the whole competing, you couldn't even go to the gym anymore. So that kind of got wind knocked out of my sails for a while. So, but I've always had a love for the gym and always thought about having one. But in the U.S., so much competition. When you buy a Gold's Gym franchise in California or Florida, a place like that, you can't. They're actually all sold out. So people have actually bought the rights to them in particular areas and they actually own the rights. So when we came here and it started popping up, I'm like, you know what, let's look into it. So my wife and I had a meeting with the head of the Gold's Gym Philippines. It was tough to hear. We did a Zoom meeting, but we got enough information. We got pretty excited about it. Mm-hmm. So we're like, let's look at doing this. So we were looking at some places. We were following a couple other vloggers, and there was a big vlogger here in Iloilo that we were following. And, we're like, I never heard of Iloilo before, but it looks like a developing area that looks like it might fit, So we were looking at here. We were looking maybe Davao, or maybe Dumaguete, which I'd never been to. From what I understand, Dumaguete would have worked. It's not big enough. Yeah. But it was just a couple places that were kind of popping up on our radar. So we ended up coming here first. And we promised ourselves we'd go look at these other places, which we never did because we came here and we went, yeah, this is pretty good. We went and looked at the local gyms and the competitions in the area here, and we realized quickly that there was a need for this. Really, really had a need. And based on some of the membership rates and stuff like that, for some of the other gyms, we based it on what they were getting, how many members they had. We did the calculations, and we figured if we did the same, we could put together an amazing gym. Yeah. And I didn't do this. Obviously, we did it to do it for a profit, but I'm not looking to get rich off of it. I'm looking to give back. I figured it's going to come back to me anyways. So we really went all out. We spent a lot on this gym. Yeah. I won't disclose the numbers, but it's pretty obvious in the equipment that we put in here. All our equipment's from Germany. Mm-hmm. I experienced this when I went back to my old home Gold's Gym last December after we'd already bought the franchise. Yeah. But I went back to my old Gold's Gym. They remodeled it, and man, the guy back there, he's probably the biggest visionary in all of Gold's Gym. Angel Baños and his brother, Willie, these guys are on the forefront of just building the most awesome Gold's Gyms. I think they're almost at 30. Wow. And they're all over something. And every single one I go into is it's a holy crap moment. It's really nice. And they remodeled this one. They've been wanting to remodel it for years, and they finally did it. And it was just, I have video coverage. People see it. I'm like, yeah, it's 6,000, 7,000 square meters. So that's 70,000 square feet. It's massive. Swimming pool, everything upstairs, downstairs. Their upstairs gym alone will rival any gym here in the Philippines. This is crazy. So I knew I couldn't compete against them. You got 24-hour there. You've got LA Fitness. You just have so much. I'm just like, and then plus also, the price of construction and logistics, and then California regulations just threw the whole idea out the window. So here it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty smooth. Construction here is done a little bit differently. It was a bit slower than what I expected. That's what I was in. I was in the construction industry. So, I knew enough to know that, I tried to help my contractor out as much as I could. Mm-hmm. Explain to him, I'd show him videos on, this is how they do it, on the other side of the world. It could, you guys can learn a lot from this. And I tried to help him out, but it is what it is. We got it done. My architect, that did this saw my vision and replicated it on paper perfectly. I mean, she was a 10 as far as what she did. I mean, the finish, everything I wanted. I told her, I explained it to her, and I'm telling you, she really, really nailed it. Really, really nailed it. I'm just beyond happy with the way everything happened there.
Okay, I got so many questions.
Sorry.
No, it's really good.
I took one deep breath and I just let it out.
Oh, this is awesome. I think a lot of people would want to hear details like you just mentioned. Aside from what you've already said, what was because I know a lot of people want to start a business, but they're kind of worried. Coming to a new country, you hear about the scams. Don't go into business with women. There's a lot of concern for regular people that just want to maybe consider opening a business.
Right.
So how did you handle all that? Was it why are you so certain about this? It just to me seemed like you knew immediately what you could achieve here. So any tips or advice would be great.
Well, I just looked around and I knew that most people think that you need a lot of expats to be able to have a higher end business survive in the Philippines. And Iloilo was very unique to that in the respect to people make a much higher per capita living here, enough to afford a membership that's equal to about $50 a month in the U.S. pretty easily. We got a lot of call centers here. We got a lot of medical centers, so there's a lot of doctors. We have doctors here. We've got a lot of people from the call centers. People just tend to make more money. We have way more Filipinos in here than we do Americans or foreigners for that. Much, much stronger. So if I was relying on that would have been tough. So that was one of the things I saw. I could just look around and just kind of see, go to some of the higher end neighborhoods and just talking to people really. I'm a very visual person. I can kind of see things that make sense, and then I can immediately tell you what is not going to make sense. We got fortunate. We ended up partnering up with Megaworld here. Worked a really good lease out. That was one of the good things about our franchise partnership with Gold's Philippines is they negotiated the lease, which was phenomenal in comparison. I mean, I guarantee I would have been paying double, and I would have thought I was getting a good deal. But they know what the going price is, and they also have an existing relationship with all the different mega malls in all the Philippines. So they come in, they go, look, we're a big brand. We're taking up a lot of space, and it's going to be good for all the stores around you. And that's kind of the sales point. It's kind of like, Megaworld's real famous for putting a McDonald's in before they put anything else in. There's a reason behind that. So it's kind of the same thing. Having a Gold's Gym here, especially at the level that we're at, really matches kind of what the Megaworld look is. Megaworld has a much higher end, nicer look than some of the other malls.
I noticed just your location is prime location, right at the roundabout with the beautiful condos or buildings surrounding it. And it's pretty nice.
Well, at first we were going to be down by the Palladium, which was on the main street. And I thought I felt like I got rug pulled. I was a little bit ticked. I was like, well, you guys want to move me and you want to move me back in this corner. And it's but they were talking about the parking over there, and they're right actually, because the parking's not that good over there.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to put a Landers across the street. They're supposed to have a parking structure, but they're not even going to break out in 2025. And the other location was great and all, but as far as the parking here, no matter what, one of the things I wanted is a first floor. Almost every gym's on the second or third floor here.
Yeah.
And think about it. You're lifting heavy weights.
Mm-hmm.
You drop a weight and you got a restaurant underneath you, or who knows what you have underneath you. Maybe it's a salon, maybe it's a massage place where they need quiet, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's pissed. So we just have a cistern, which is basically a water containment area underneath us. We have a parking structure above us.
Yeah.
We have a parking area in the back of us. So we're literally almost a standalone, but we're underneath this condominium complex that's probably 12, 14 stories tall. Yeah. So the nice thing is the sun comes up over here. You don't get any radiant heat on the backside of your building, so it doesn't get hot. It's impossible because I'm 10 stories below the highest building, so we get no radiant heat on the top. And then when the sun finally starts to set, we got a tall building over here which blocks almost all the sun out. So our air cons barely have to run. I have 5 and I only need to run 3 really at the most. And the temperature here is perfect all the time.
Yeah. That's the first thing I noticed when I came in here. It was just like, especially in the Philippines, humidity and heat.
Yep.
The temperature here is wonderful. But some gyms don't even have AC, to be honest, that I've been. Well, just wide open.
And what I've noticed, the other gyms, they'll have AC. They're either not working efficiently or because of the fact that it's not well insulated. That's one of the things I paid a lot of extra money for, was to put the ceiling in. A lot of gyms would have just opted out and left that industrial kind of look.
Yeah.
But that would have meant that my air cons are going to run a lot more. 3 to 4 years, I'm going to get my ROI on this and return on investment, because I'm going to be saving money on that part. And also sound, logistics, or not logistics, but the acoustics on the sound. I have all acoustic panels on the top, and I did that on purpose so we don't have, a lot of gyms will echo like crazy if they have high ceilings, and we have different elevations too in the ceiling, so you don't have that echo. So for instance, like a vlogger like yourself, when you guys come in and do something, you don't have that reverberation of that bounce of the sound all over the place. It was designed on purpose like that.
Like outside right now, your office, the music's playing, I'm sure very loud, but over here, I don't hear a single thing.
Yeah, well, that's because we got 12 mil, tempered glass everywhere. That's actually a requirement. It's not like I couldn't get something cheaper, but it definitely makes a big difference. So, and also, like you said, if it would echo probably a bit more. Our group class training actually echoes more than I thought it was going to be. So we'll probably put some acoustic, baffling panels on the sidewalls in there. It's just little things that just, that make the big difference. People don't notice it. I do. So I'm all about creating a vibe, that is just something really cool. People, very first thing they come in, it just feels good.
Yeah, and when you feel good, you want to come here more often, right? That's the biggest thing about.
I have people in here for 5 hours. I'm like, get out, go home. Don't you have somewhere else to go?
And lastly, any advice for someone that wants to come to the Philippines and is considering opening a business? I know it's a very open-ended question, but anything you can say on that?
Choose your location wisely based on the business that you want to do. I would highly suggest don't do. Everybody wants to see them come here and do a restaurant or a bar and restaurant. A bar would be a bit easier, but a restaurant, logistics for getting stuff is, especially coming from another country, consistency of foods to your restaurant would be, I think, the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
We almost went into a restaurant business over in Quran, and I am so thankful it didn't work out. I had somebody that I partnered up with, and I looked at the place that he chose, and I'm just like, God, this location I told you, I got a gut feeling. It just didn't feel like it would be successful. But I was bored. I needed to do something. So I jumped in, and it was like, it was one of the biggest regrets of my life. I wish I would have never even considered it. But actually it led us to here anyway. So, if it wasn't for that, I got to look at it as a blessing that was kind of a negative thing, but it was positive at the same time. So we ended up here, and we've been here for almost a year now and absolutely loving it. I really don't see myself moving anywhere else, really. I might have a place somewhere. If I set up another gym in another area, I might get like a small condo. So whenever I went there, I would actually have my own place to stay. But outside of that, there's nowhere else I'm looking. I'm enjoying the people that I met here. So far, everybody's been very solid. Really good people, expats and Filipinos. I'm not just an expat guy. If you're cool, we got a good vibe. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what color you are. If we're cool, we're cool, and it's just like anywhere else in the world. You got jerks and, and you got cool people, and, if you vibe with them, hang, it's cool. Right. And, and in other places, you don't. So it's so far been really good here. It's been a very positive experience. I really have very, very little negative to say. I mean, I know I complain about the traffic. It's just hard for me to get used to.
Yeah.
You know, especially coming from more of a rules-based thing.
Well, thank you so much for your time, man. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Man.
An amazing story. Awesome, man. Thank you so much
Not a problem.
for your time.
Not a problem. Good talking to you.
Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of his story, opening up a successful business in Iloilo, the Philippines. Honestly, that gym is wonderful, fantastic. If you guys are in Iloilo, go ahead and check out Gold's Gym. I've left a link to the address in the description down below. And say hello to Mark because he's a wonderful guy. He enjoys what he does. He's always hands-on. I've seen him just, you know, when I got there, he was actually putting up a shelf. So he's not someone just talks the talks. He actually walks the walk. And a lot of people commented on that green color in the background. That's actually mandatory based off Gold Gym's requirements because I think it's homage to the first original gym that was in LA. Correct me, something along the lines of that based on what I recall from the story. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Leave your thoughts down below. Anything you want to share. If you take your time to write, I'll take your time to respond. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.